Hello, everybody. Welcome to this training. Today, we're going to focus on types of assessment. As teachers, we know that assessment is very, very important because with that, we can see how our students are. My name is Luis Mego, and I'm in charge of the academic area in Ciucss Language Center. So let's get started. First, we need to identify or we need to answer this question that is, how do you use the different types of assessment in your classroom to promote student learning? As we know, as teachers, the types of assessments are really, really important because we need to know what are we doing, what are we evaluating in class. For example, today we are going to focus on 4 of them. The first one is diagnostic assessment. The second one is formative assessment. Then we have summative assessment and ipsative assessment. Okay, diagnostic assessment. When you structure diagnostic assessments around your lesson, you'll get the information you need to understand student knowledge and engage your whole classroom. So it is very important diagnostic assessments from the very beginning of the class. Why? Because it says here that you will get the information you need to understand from your students. Yes? How they begin in the class. We have to have this kind of diagnostic assessment. And some examples include short quizzes, okay, student interviews, classroom discussions. So through these ideas that are more of course, we can see how our students start a lesson. I mean, the class, the level, we can say. Diagnostic assessments can also help benchmark student progress. Consider giving the same assessment at the end of the unit. So students can see how far they've come. For example, today is my first day of class. I can give them a piece of paper, a short quiz, I can say, with some questions, let's say 10 questions, A, B, and C. And the same test I will give them at the end of the unit. Maybe the very beginning they get, I don't know, 10 points out of 10. I mean, 10 points out of 20. Yes? But at the end of the lesson, the same person gets maybe 20, 18, 19. So you can see the progress. So that's the idea of diagnostic assessment. The second one is formative assessment. What is that? Just because student made it to the end of unit test doesn't mean they've mastered the topics in the unit. So formative assessments help teachers understand student learning while they teach and provide them with information to adjust their teaching strategies accordingly. So listen to this. Master the topics in the unit. No. So a test at the end of the unit doesn't mean they know the topic perfectly. Formative assessment, listen, is made during the lesson. For example, during the lesson, you can provide your student short regular quizzes, entry and exit tickets, so exams or practices, even class discussions, but during the lesson. We need to know that formative assessments are during the lessons. So formative assessments help you track how student knowledge is growing and changing in your classroom in real time. So you see the progress of your student during the lesson. Here, when running formative assessments in your classroom, it's best to keep them short. Yes, short, easy to grade, and consistent. Introducing a student to formative assessments in a low stakes way can help you benchmark their progress and reduce math anxiety. So when you use this kind of assessment, so keep in mind, short regular quizzes. Yes, class discussions, but during the class. The third one is summative assessment. What is summative assessment? The goal of summative assessment is to evaluate student learning at the end an instructional unit by comparing it against some standard of benchmark. So summative assessments are often high stakes, which means that they have a high point value. Examples of summative assessments include a midterm exam, even a final exam or final project, final reports, portfolios, exams, and surveys. So when do I have to use summative assessment? When? At the end of instructional period. At the end of the level, we can say as well. Why? To collect evidence of student knowledge, skill, or proficiency. How? Via exit learning products or a cumulative assessment, right? So this is when, why, and how to use summative assessment. Then we have here a difference between diagnostic, formative, and summative. So again, diagnostic is the beginning of unit. Evaluate prior learning. Evaluative, the diagnosed skills. Outcomes driven, establish content. While formative, ongoing, so in the process. Evaluate learning over time, not only once, but also over and over. You evaluate how students are doing. Incremental, yes. Improve performance, outcomes driven, and assess content over time. Now, summative at the end of the unit. Measure sum of learning, comprehensive, validate achievement, outcomes driven, and assess final content. So, to sum up, formative, while we learn, in the class, while we teach, we use formative assessments. But summative, it's at the end. Yes, summative is at the end, right? Okay, and the last one is an assessment that is not very common, ipsative assessment. Well, how many of your students get a bad grade on a test and get so discouraged they stop trying? Many, I think. For example, when you got a final exam, the student get, I don't know, 50 points, and the maximum is 100. So that student will feel disappointed, right? But ipsative assessments are one of the types of assessments as learning that compares the previous result with a second try, motivating students to set goals and improve their skills. Let's see, for example, okay, my first exam I got 74 points, but in my second exam I got 90. So you see the difference, right? So you improve, and that motivates our students. So that is actually the idea, right? To see how our students improve during the process. So that's the idea of this training day. Thank you so much. I would like to share this video. Yes, but I'm going to write the link, right? So thank you so much for your attention. See you next.